or it will turn out like Tom Segura. Did you know that when we lived in the OTK mansion, Tom Segura lived next door? The next door neighbor was Tom Segura. And when Arthur was out playing pickleball at 7 o'clock at night, which wasn't even that late, you know who was complaining? Tom Segura's wife. You know? So this lady was complaining about pickleball at 7 o'clock at night. And I don't understand how her mansion couldn't block out the sound. You know, you have a $30 million house and you don't have one room that has soundproofing. His ex-wife? Yeah, I know. I didn't get it. Yeah, pickleball is loud, but like, bro, it's 150 degrees during the day. When will we ever be able to play pickleball? You know. So I don't even really know anything about them. I never really talked to them, but I know that Tom Segura was next door. And you know what's funny? I had more trouble with neighbors living in that rich neighborhood than I've ever had in my entire life. The lady across the street was an absolute tyrant. And then Tom Segura was like his wife was complaining next door. I don't think Tom was even home, bro. And I'm thinking to myself, this place is like what was it, 30K a month? Why would I pay 30K a month to hear you people bitch all the time? You know, how's your mailbox? No fucking clue, dude. No clue. So thank goodness we moved out of there. Like that place those people sucked. Like you have this big house, like this big old, you remember the OTK house? It was massive. And they expect you to like just sit in it and be quiet. Like what's the point of having a house this big if you can't use it for what it's meant to be used for? You know? It just made no fucking sense. If I had spent $30 million of my own money on a house and I had neighbors say that to me, oh my God. But then again, maybe they knew that since we were just renting, they could kind of bully us a little bit and get away with it because it wasn't our place, and things like that. Because I came in there being really nice to people. I was like, yeah, we're not going to have any issues, blah, blah, blah. But it just didn't end up working out. That house made me hate mansions. Lucky I'll never own one. Yeah, yeah. I would never buy a house that big in my life. It was absolutely not worth it. So, sup, Nick? You ready for the gym? Yeah, I'm ready to go. I can't wait. Rich neighborhoods love having neighborhood watch because Karen's an excuse to complain all day. Maybe that's the problem, dude. Maybe when they get to the point where they're like super rich or whatever, they just have nothing else going on and they need to just kind of like bitch and moan. Because even the lady across the street, she was so rude to me in the text messages. I had to block her. I'm not kidding you. Like that lady was so unbelievably rude to me in the messages that I literally had to block her number so she can't even message me anymore. So it was just insane. She's like, look her up. She's worth like $40 million or something, and she's bitching about
strong Nmplol.
about this thing that we're like, yeah, we'll pay for it, but you have to sign this release that you won't sue us. And she never did. She never signed it. She just refused to sign this release. So I was all right. We're just not going to pay for it. If you want to take us to court, take us to court. Explain. So what happened was we had this party at the OTK mansion, and one of the how do I explain this? I'm just gonna draw a picture. It's the best way to explain it, sadly. So we lived at this OTK mansion and whatnot, and so let me kind of explain how I draw a little house. I love doing this little stuff. Everyone hates when I do this, but I love it. It's fun. So here's the OTK mansion. Here's this lady's house, about like here more or less. Okay, and then here is the road, if you will. Okay, just here's her driveway. Okay, there's more houses, blah blah blah. Goes around like this. And here's the other side, bloop, bloop. And of course, we being the bigger house, we actually had two ways to get in. So we had two driveways. Lamau. Okay, going this way. Here's the other driveway. Okay, blah 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 blah. Right? This is what it looks. So here's like the entrance. Okay, this is important. And I don't know how to say this without being racist, but it's just going to be the truth. And if it's racist, it's racist. Okay. So this right here is a gate. Okay. It's a gate. Okay. And here, next to the gate, is a sign. Okay. And the sign says on it, it says wrong way. You understand? Turn around. Right? Because the way that this place worked was when you came into it, you would drive this way. It was a one-way road. And if you wanted to leave, okay, you'd have to keep going all the way around and end up leaving through the other exit, which was all the way over here. Okay. But for some reason, okay, non-English speaking Uber drivers could not comprehend that. Okay. Now you call me racist if you want to, but they didn't get it. Okay. So what they would do a lot of the time, okay, actually like 75% of the time, is when they would come in, all right, they would, and I will use this as a different color, okay, they would back out. Let's say they delivered some food. They would back out and they would go sit here. They would just sit here at the gate, okay, just sitting here and just wait. In fact, I watched one sit there for 20 minutes before he texted me and say, open the gate. And the sign is right there. He sat there for 20 minutes and they just didn't get it. And the thing is, I was so interested about this that when I got picked up by like an Uber driver, I would look at his GPS. His GPS even told him to go the right way. And they still did it the wrong way. So I'm just like, okay, you guys must just not be able to comprehend what's going on around you. So I don't know. I just didn't understand it because I saw it on his GPS telling them to go the right way. And still 3 out of 4 drivers did this wrong. Okay. And none of them, English wasn't their main language. Maybe they couldn't understand the sign. I'm not sure what was going on here. But what happened was we had this OTK party this one night. Okay. So what does that mean? A whole bunch of people have Uber, Uber drivers. And what happened was, instead of just picking people up and continuing down the road, a dumb Uber driver, and we'll do it, I guess, this time in green, picked someone up here, backed up, hit this lady's, and this is allegedly, of course, hit this lady's, like, mailbox, okay, and then went out the wrong way. And this was, like, the first day we were living in the house, okay? And the lady was like, yeah, it's like $5,000 to fix this mailbox, is what she was saying. Because it was like a mailbox made of, or whatever it was. It was some like mailbox thing, And we're like, all right. So why did OTK have to pay? Because it was the party that we threw, even though the Uber drivers were the ones that did it. And even then, that was allegedly, because I'm like, okay, can we get footage of this happening? She's like, no. We didn't have footage of it happening because the cameras didn't go all the way up here because this was technically downslope. So we had no idea even how it happened. As far as I know, she could have went out there, pushed it over herself. I have no fucking clue if it happened or not. You know what I'm saying? So then we were like, yeah, we'll end up paying it, blah, blah, blah. And like she kept harassing me about it. But I have no control over anything, any finances from the company. Zero control. I can't pay myself. I can't do anything. I don't have any access to that. But she kept texting me. I'm like, yo, this isn't my thing. I don't know. I'll check for you, blah, blah, blah. And then I told her, I'm like, so I asked her, what's going on? And they were like, well, we asked her to sign us release so she won't sue us, blah, blah, blah. And she's never signed it. Like we had no problem paying for it, but she just refused to sign it. And then she kept texting me about it. I'm like, listen, bitch, stop fucking texting me. I told you what it's gonna be like and what it is you have to do to get your money. And she wouldn't stop. She wouldn't stop harassing me. So I had to block her ass. I had to block her. And it got to the point where I was like, I know you're sitting there, with your millions alone in your house looking for something to do, but stop harassing me. And I blocked her. Like straight up. So it was just absolutely crazy. Why are you fighting with women? I don't think Zol and Poke are women, but you can say that if you want. So, was she hot at least? I don't even remember what she looked like, man. She never came outside. I never talked to her. But the thing is, the second I joined this place, the guy who runs the HOA, I met him like out here in front of the house, and he was like, "Be careful, the woman across the street is annoying." So like she has like this rep already of being bad, you know. So it was really already a thing. Yeah, Dean could fix her. So I think we actually talked to Dean about it. We were thinking about sending Dean over there. So it probably really wasn't going to be the best thing ever. But that's the little story about that sort of thing. I'd be annoyed if you hit my mailbox. Well, I didn't hit shit, bro. Like, how do you think I feel that these Uber drivers just couldn't figure it out? You know, they really just couldn't. They couldn't figure it out, man. But it was like a recurring thing. Almost every single one. So what I would do is I had a button. I had a button that could open this gate. So after they dropped it off, I knew that they would do it the wrong way. So I would sit here, and this is me in the house, being cute, and I would sit here with this little red button, and I would just open the gate for them because I knew that they just wouldn't do it the right way, and they would sit there for 20 minutes, but instead of just going around, even though it said that, you know. So that was kind of how that went down there. So, you know, that's the quick story. That's nice of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.